are coming on the air with the new details on the National Guard troops in critical condition tonight after a shooting that the president calls an act of terror. What we're learning about those two victims and what we know about the federal investigation into the suspect, whom the FBI says is an Afghan national. Then the millions of Americans looking past Thanksgiving Day to their ride home with near whiteout conditions in the Midwest. We've got a look at your travel forecast coming up. And in tonight's original, the push to bridge the gap between the high-tech innovators and the high school students in the most innovative square mile on the planet. Then the deep dive into the major makeover dividing D.C. with a closer look at the East Wing overhaul and what the White House could look like next. Hey there, I'm Hallie, and right now we start with those two members of the National Guard in critical condition tonight after what officials call a targeted shooting under investigation as a terrorist attack, according to two senior law enforcement officials. We're just seeing some new images of the victims. Andrew Wolf, he's 24, and Sarah Bechtram, who is just 20 years old. You see them there. As for the suspect, some new details there. The CIA says he's an Afghan national who worked with U.S. troops during the war in Afghanistan.
There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America.
The suspect came to the U.S. several years ago in 2021 under a Biden-era policy. And now in a big move today, you've got the Trump administration ordering a full-scale re-examination of green cards given to what they call every alien from every country of concern. We're going to get into that and some of the new developments there with Kelly O'Donnell in just a moment. But I want to start with Mel Zanona tonight, who's outside GW Hospital in D.C. And let's start with the condition of these young victims here, these two National Guard service members, and how they're doing, Mel.
Yeah, the last official update we received was this morning. Officials said both victims underwent surgeries for their injuries. Both of them remain in critical condition, and now they have their families by their side. Let's take a listen to Janine Pirro. She is the U.S. Attorney for District of Columbia.
First and foremost, our hearts go out to the victims and their families. These are dedicated service members who were performing their duties in service to our nation, and they are currently in critical condition. They have undergone surgery. We pray for their well-being as they continue to be cared for in the best possible way.
Now, I'm standing outside GW Hospital here in D.C. We know that the suspect is being treated here for his injuries. We know he was shot during the scuffle after two other National Guardsmen came over and tried to intervene, as well as one of the National Guard members who shot also being treated here at the hospital, though we don't know which of the victims is actually being treated here. But, Hallie, I do want to share with you some new reporting from the New York Times because they were able to reach Sarah Bechtram's father by telephone. And he suggested to the newspaper that his daughter might not survive. Let me read you what he told them. He said, "I'm holding her hand right now. She has a mortal wound. It's not going to be a recovery." Now, I do want to caution this is an evolving situation. We don't know all the details. We don't know how he arrived at that conclusion, but it does just paint a picture of how absolutely devastating and dire it is and how these victims are absolutely fighting for their lives right now in the hospital.
And by the way, the West Virginia governor giving an update as we speak, Mel, asking for prayers from West Virginians and from so many across the country, calling this, of course, a top priority on Thanksgiving Day. We're going to continue to follow that, but we're also tonight, too, learning more details from intelligence officials about the contours around this attack. There is still a lot of questions even tonight.
Yeah, that's right. We still don't know the motive. The FBI says it's too soon to determine that, but they did say they believe this was a targeted attack. They said the suspect, a 29-year-old Afghan national, traveled all the way from his home in Washington State to here in Washington, D.C. And once he arrived here, he did raise his handgun at these two National Guards members who were doing highly visible patrols on the streets of D.C., just blocks away from the Capitol. He opened fire and critically injured both of them. Now, at that time, there was two other members of the National Guard who came over. They subdued him until the police arrived. It led to a very, very chaotic scene. Some of that footage we do have. And so it was just a really dramatic moment. But in terms of where the investigation goes from here, it's unclear at this point whether the police have actually been able to talk to the suspect. Like I said, he is injured himself, but they have been able to collect some information. The FBI said today at that press conference that they already conducted a search warrant on his home in Washington state. They've conducted interviews with some of his associates in both Washington and San Diego. That was another lead that they picked up on over the last 24 hours. And they've also seized a number of electronic devices. Kash Patel, the FBI director, also said they're planning to review his immigration history, what vetting process he may have undergone, and also his work with the CA. All of that going to come under heavy scrutiny in the coming days, as this now is an investigation of potential terrorism. Hallie.
Mel Zanona, thank you very much. I want to go to Kelly O'Donnell now, who is traveling with the president. She is in West Palm Beach, Florida, as he is spending the Thanksgiving holiday at his Mar-a-Lago home. And Kelly, can we start with here the latest news from the Trump administration that they're going to look at, we mentioned it at the top of the show, these green card holders from what they call countries of concern. We're just getting an update on what those countries are, what this means. This is a potentially very significant development, right?
It is significant because it will go far beyond just this incident with the attack in D.C. involving these two National Guard members who are in critical condition. This subjects other green card holders who have gone through what we know is a rigorous process to achieve that high level of status, which is allowing people to live and work in the United States for an extended period of time on a pathway to citizenship. By reviewing all of those cases from what the administration calls countries of concern. And they have defined those countries in specific documents. It includes Afghanistan, of course, but it also includes some of the countries that you would expect to have terror concerns or unstable governments, things like that, from around the world. But that means other green card holders, and the suspect in this case was not a green card holder, but an asylum recipient, not yet to the path of a green card, but it's going to review many more people. And so this gets into the administration's very robust view of immigration policies and the stronger tactics that they're bringing to bear. They're also saying that they will do a review through Homeland Security of all Afghans who've been admitted to the country. And so not only Afghans, but these other residents who are green card holders from an array of countries, 19 of them. So this will have farther-reaching implications for many immigrants in the United States. The president, of course, also calling up additional National Guardsmen to be deployed in Washington, D.C. That has also been a subject of criticism and legal challenges, as we know, Hallie.
Kelly, there's also, when we talk about the suspect, we're learning more about the work that he did in this so-called Zero Unit, one of these Zero Units that worked closely with the U.S. in the war in Afghanistan. Can you tell us more about what that is, what the work was, what we're hearing from some of the members of the Trump administration about this?
Well, from a very long period of time of the U.S. being on the ground in Afghanistan, there were partnerships developed with lots of Afghans to work alongside the U.S. military and intelligence officers who were in country. And officials say that this suspect was a part of one of those units that worked with the CIA, and he had done that for a number of years. So I think on its face, it is likely that they did some vetting of who he is and what his work was. So you hear the administration saying there was no vetting done. That is hard to accept, given the fact that he was put in a position of working alongside U.S. personnel. So there would be some level of vetting there. Now, the administration is taking a very difficult position, and they are speaking about this suspect in harsh terms. They refer to him today as, this animal would never have been here if not for Joe Biden's dangerous policies, which allowed countless unvetted criminals to invade our country and harm the American people. That gives you a sense of the tone coming from the Trump administration and their intention to put the responsibility on the prior administration. And again, we don't know the specifics of the vetting involving this suspect, but there was certainly some measure of assessment through his service alongside U.S. personnel, and then the administration, the Biden administration, at the time of allowing for the influx of Afghans who had been working with the U.S., they promised vetting at that time as well. So questions remain about what was done.
Yeah.
And since we don't know a motive yet, Hallie, it's hard to know if vetting would have identified whatever triggered this episode that unfolded yesterday in the district.
And can I ask you, Kelly, when we talk about the suspect, the charges against him, because we heard Jeanine Pirro say he could face 15 years in prison, right?
Well, the charges at this point are very much kind of the moment. We have two soldiers who are in critical condition, and so these are assault charges at this point. We hope and pray for their recovery, but obviously when you have a critical condition, prosecutors will also have flexibility to bring about more charges. Now, the investigation that's going on, the search warrants that have been pursued and so forth, those could identify other avenues for potential charges. So this is a flexible situation with respect to charges at this point. Hallie?
Kelly O'Donnell, live for us there in West Palm Beach, Florida. Kelly, thank you very much for your reporting. Let's talk about holiday travel now and a look at what you can expect ahead for your trip home once the turkey coma wears off. Because today so far, we've seen some of the best numbers yet this week. Look at the misery map. Gang, not much misery. We love to see it, even with some blizzard warnings across the Midwest. Scenes like this one, look, in Michigan. You can hardly see through the snow coming down, this car plowing ahead. And while this is set to be one of the busiest Thanksgiving weekends for travel ever, bookings actually took a dip this fall during the government shutdown, down about 4.5%. A lot of folks worried, hey, maybe we won't make it to our destination if we try to get somewhere. We're going to have our team on this. Meteorologist Violet Yass is standing by with the latest forecast. But I want to start with Kathy Park at the Atlanta airport. Mixed bag, good news, maybe concerning news. Good news today looks awesome. But today you're probably not traveling, right? Unless you're a news reporter, you're hanging out with your family, having a feast. Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning, that's when we start to see the influx of people heading home, right?
Yeah, Hallie, good afternoon to you and happy Thanksgiving. Believe it or not, we actually ran into a couple people who are traveling today. And today actually was a great day to travel because we are at the busiest airport in the world. And so far, so good. Out here where folks are getting dropped off, they're doing so with ease. And then inside, here's something you don't see every day. The security line practically empty. At last check, it takes roughly 5 minutes or less to get through security. And you don't even need TSA pre-check or clear to get through that line. You don't need that today. We spoke with a lot of travelers coming in from all across the country, Colorado, Florida, as well as Massachusetts. And from start to finish, no one had any complaints. And everyone had different stories as to why they decided to travel on Thanksgiving, but no regrets so far. But Hallie, as you mentioned, this is kind of like the calm before the storm, right? This is a holiday, so typically you don't have a lot of people traveling today. We checked the misery map. You had roughly 50 or so cancellations, about 1,000 delays, but that is nothing compared to what we saw earlier this week. But then Sunday and Monday, that is expected to be peak travel days here at Atlanta and beyond. So, of course, if you are traveling those days, taking a flight somewhere, you want to come out here early. Another tip that we've been getting is try not to check a bag. You can save a lot of time that way. And if there are delays, you're not stuck waiting for that bag somewhere. But AAA actually said 90% of Americans actually drove to their holiday destinations, and 73 million, that's approximately how many Americans actually got behind the wheel. So if you are working on Monday, the best time to drive, according to transportation officials, it is before 11 a.m. If not, you're going to be dealing with a lot of the traffic woes, the gridlock on the roadway. So you do want to get out a little bit earlier if you can. But so far, so good at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jacksonville International Airport, the busiest airport in the world. But talk to us on Sunday when things will probably look a little different around here.
Wait, but Kathy, I have to ask, are they serving turkey somewhere at the airport today for people? Somewhere?
You know what? I haven't really been searching for turkey. Maybe later. We'll ask.
Let's
after
get you
this
on
hit.
that assignment. Kathy Park, thank you very much in Atlanta for us. Happy Thanksgiving, Kathy. Appreciate that. Let's bring in meteorologist Violet Yass now. And I know we have had some turkey here at 30 Rock. It's good to see you. We talk about this wintry Thanksgiving, though, a white Thanksgiving, not a white Christmas yet, for a lot of people in the Midwest, but we've seen a good amount of snow coming down.
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good across parts of the Great Lakes. Right now, we're getting some snows and pretty consistent snows across parts of Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York State as well. Winds have been very gusty on the order of 30 to 40 miles per hour, and those are likely going to continue as we head into this afternoon. Again, you can see some of those steadier bands of lake effect snow, mainly south of Buffalo, right around Cleveland, and extending into parts of Pennsylvania as well, including the Pittsburgh area. So through this evening, we'll see those blustery winds continue again in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. That lake effect snow will continue, especially for the eastern Great Lakes. Again, less of an issue out across, for example, Wisconsin, and Illinois, thanks to, of course, the direction of the wind as well. So we'll see that continue through this evening and even into tomorrow as well. The highest totals are likely going to be downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario. So again, we're looking at parts of Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania, and parts of New York State as well for some of those impacts to potentially get going as we head into tomorrow and into the start of the weekend.
Talk more about that, because we sort of bookended this holiday with some people getting a mess on the way to their Thanksgiving destinations, and some people might get a mess on the way home, too.
Yeah, this lake effect snow is just sort of one sort of phenomenon, right? We have another system that's going to be brewing here across the middle of the country, and you can already see those winter weather alerts getting going here from the northern Rockies and parts of Montana, stretching across the plains through the Great Lakes into the Midwest, all the way into parts of Ohio. So we are going to be looking at some significant totals here, with 41 million people potentially being impacted as we head into the weekend. So by Saturday, we're going to see blinding snow develop with that combination of steady snow and very strong winds across the Great Lakes. So this is going to impact cities like Minneapolis, Waterloo, down through Chicago, Detroit, eventually perhaps reaching Cincinnati. The warmer side of the storm, though, you can see this is also going to trigger some very heavy showers and thunderstorms just south of St. Louis. St. Louis sort of going to be on the sort of a ridge of that, but Little Rock, Nashville, down through Birmingham, we'll be looking at some heavy showers and thunderstorms there. Now, by Saturday, again, those travel impacts are going to start to get going here. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Chicago, down through Kansas City and St. Louis, potentially eventually shifting into the Detroit area as well. So that heavy rain is also going to wet those roads for people who choosing to perhaps drive instead of venturing out to the airport. So that may potentially cause some issues here across a lot of our major interstates, I-30, 44, 55, up through I-80 as well into Saturday. By Sunday, this starts to shift to the east, and we'll see this sort of run into warmer air. So this will bring rain to the New York City area as well, likely later on Sunday. But again, with the warmer air in place, it's likely going to be more rain than snow here, at least in this part of the country, Hallie.
Violet, yes, thank you very much. Also tonight overseas, right now, officials are hoping that by tonight, they're finally going to be able to put out that huge fire that ripped through a Hong Kong apartment complex, killing now at least 83 people. That's even as crews are searching for dozens still missing, maybe even trapped on those upper floors. Look at that. You can see what is left. It is totally charred. These officials are also trying to figure out how this fire started so quickly and spread so fast, with at least 3 people arrested so far in connection with it. And tonight, they seem to be zeroing in on some of the renovation materials used. Danielle Hamamjian reports.
Well, there is no official cause given yet, but investigators are focusing their attention on the bamboo scaffolding, which is quite common there in Hong Kong, though the government was phasing out the use of bamboo scaffolding because of safety concerns, and that started earlier this year. They're also focusing on the green netting that were surrounding some of the buildings during these renovations. Now, these are buildings that have been around for about 40 years, and the renovation works had been in place for about a year. Police have now searched the offices of the construction company that was carrying out the renovations. They've arrested 2 directors and 1 engineering consultant, and they've been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. They are between the ages of 52 and 68. The city's anti-corruption agency also launching an investigation into possible corruption in the renovation project. It's rare to see, I mean, it's stating the obvious here, but it is very rare to see multiple buildings on fire, an inferno really engulfing apartment by apartment, building by building, 7 out of the 8 in all in that housing complex. We are learning a little bit more about those who have died. The Indonesian consulate has confirmed that at least 2 of those killed were Indonesian nationals. They were foreign domestic workers employed by some of the residents in the building for housework, for caregiving. We also know, of course, that one of the victims was a firefighter who'd been on the job for about 9 years. He was found collapsed at the scene. I will leave you with a bit of good news. That one man was rescued from the 31st floor of one of the buildings 20 hours after the fire started.
Our thanks to Danielle Hamamjian for that reporting. Also overseas right now, Pope Leo is on the ground for his first foreign trip since becoming leader of the Catholic Church, landing earlier today in Turkey. We'll show you here, being greeted there by that country's president after his arrival, marking Thanksgiving with this trip to the Middle East. And on his way, visited with some of the journalists who were on his flight to cover the trip. One of them, our own Claudio Lavanga, who, in a phrase we never thought we'd say, gave the Pope a piece of pecan pie. Here's Claudio with more.
This first international trip by Pope Leo XIV to Turkey and Lebanon is also really the first diplomatic and geopolitical test for the Pope since he was elected back in May. Now, here in Ankara, during the first and only speech of the day in the presence of the President of Turkey, Erdogan, Pope Leo called Turkey, this country, a bridge between East and West, a bridge between Europe and Asia, but also a crossroad between religions and a culture. But he also warned that the future of humanity is at stake because he said, by borrowing a phrase dear to his predecessor, Pope Francis, that the world war free in piecemeal is still being fought. Now, messages of peace, of reconciliation, of religious tolerance that the Pope is expected to continue to deliver in the coming days during his visit here in Turkey, but also when he goes to Beirut in Lebanon on Sunday. Only days after Israel has carried out yet another airstrike targeting and killing a Hezbollah official, but the Vatican says that they are not worried and that his itinerary continue as scheduled.
Our thanks to Claudio for that reporting. Coming up tonight, more fallout now for the Miss Universe pageant. Have you been following this one? There's a lot here. Why the co-owner is now facing fraud charges. Plus, some dramatic new video showing the moment crews rescued somebody trapped in a burning home. We've got that right after this break. New report shows more than half of Americans are using AI to help with their holiday shopping lists. Maybe you're one of them, along with using AI for like testing out personalized styling, comparisons on prices for the stuff you want. But is your favorite chatbot really the best way to find the best deals? Tanya Luviano-Horwitz from NBC San Diego has more.
Hey, what are the best deals for a laptop for my 17-year-old?
That's a great question. Laptops for 17-year-olds. Typically, high school seniors are
Look at AI as your personal assistant. This tool will not only help you find the perfect gift for your loved one this holiday season, it will save you a lot of time and money. But it comes with a warning.
Store after store, crowds, long lines, or hours on the internet looking for the best holiday gifts is a thing of the past.
For you to look at 50 different websites is going to take a significant amount of time to do that. But for a computer system like an artificial intelligence, they could do this in no time, in milliseconds. And that is the big difference.
Michael Todasco is a visiting fellow at the AI Center at San Diego State University. He says the main difference between an internet search and AI is personalization.
You can actually say, hey, Gemini, these are the types of credit cards I have. These are the cash back deals that I have. I use Rakuten and Honey or whatever it might be that you use. Can you tell me all the potential discounts and have it do the research for you?
You can even upload a picture of an item and ask AI to look for deals or discounts.
Have no idea what to get a loved one? Let's see. Can you recommend very cool gifts for my 13-year-old niece who loves K-pop?
That's a fun age, and K-pop offers so many great gift options.
But let's not forget, AI is not perfect. AI chatbots can recommend items that do not match your request or even give you outdated pricing information.
You just have to do a little bit of homework yourself. Ultimately, in the end, we need to have agency in this. It isn't an all-knowing oracle. It gets things wrong. It is not perfect, but it is really, really helpful.
But what about scams? Can you click on any of the links AI is suggesting? No. You have to be an AI smart shopper.
You can always just take the product that it's suggesting, copy that, paste it in the browser directly to a site that you're comfortable shopping from and buy from there.
The more specific you are when asking AI, the better answers you'll get. Are the new AirPods worth buying? I only want you to look at Consumer Reports reviews.
The new AirPods Pro 3 get solid marks from Consumer Reports.
And you could also always buy locally as well if you wanted to. You could use this almost as a list and say, hey, what stores in my area are likely to carry this product?
Here's something else you need to know about. Some AI tools are allowing companies to buy ads so they can appear at the top of the searches. So pay close attention to those results. You still need to shop around, but AI will narrow those results. Let's see. Hey, can you give me some gift ideas for a female trendy news reporter in San Diego?
First, snag her a sleek, personalized leather notebook from a local spot like Etsy sellers in SD.
I like that. Tanya Lubiana Hurwitz, NBC7 Response.
Our thanks to Tanya for that reporting. Let's get you over to the 5 things our team thinks you should know about tonight. Number 1, officials in Indonesia say at least 61 people have been killed after a ton of rain over the past week triggered flash floods and landslides. At least 100 people are still missing, and officials say the rain's not over yet. More is expected in the next few days. Number 2, an American Airlines flight had to be evacuated overnight because of a mechanical problem just before takeoff. Some passengers say they heard a noise and then smoke started to fill the cabin. The airline says the plane has been taken out of service for inspection. Number 3, we'll show you some of this new body cam video out of Colorado showing the moment crews got to a house fire. First responders say they could hear someone inside. This is that video. They could hear somebody yelling for help. They eventually found a man trapped in the basement. Officers managed to break open a window and pull him out to safety. Number 4, new fallout for the Miss Universe organization again tonight after an arrest warrant was issued for one of the co-owners. A Thai court deemed her a flight risk after she didn't show up to court in connection with a fraud case. The Miss Universe organization did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Number 5, if you are looking to add to your holiday decor, how about this? Christie's is auctioning off a Fabergé egg commissioned by a Russian czar. Inside the egg, a surprise mini bouquet of flowers. The auction is next week in London. So if you're looking for a little something, and you got $26 million to spare, just sitting around, that's what Christie says this thing is going to go for. Good luck. Best of luck to you. In tonight's breakdown tonight, a closer look at what's become a deepening divide inside the GOP over legal immigration, specifically H-1B visas. That's the program that lets companies here in the U.S. hire foreign talent for special jobs. Our John Allen explains why it's causing such a clash in tonight's breakdown.
President Trump's base united on illegal immigration, but on legal immigration, a growing split, with the president sounding a softer note.
If you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
He's talking about the H-1B visa, a program that allows American businesses to hire skilled foreign workers for specialty jobs, something the U.S. has been doing for decades. The government approves around 100,000 new applications each year, sometimes more, sometimes less, mostly from India and China, for jobs in finance, healthcare, tech, engineering.
You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles.
His comments sending shockwaves through the MAGA movement.
This is just destruction of American jobs for corporate profit.
It's not America first, and it's most definitely not what you voted for.
Now, Lynn Haley, the son of former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, also calling for a total ban.
A lot of people are surprised at your position on H-1B visas because you're Indian American, and H-1B visas a lot of them go to Indian Americans.
Right. Well, I mean, they shouldn't be, because I've seen how it's affected my friends and those around me. At the end of the day, my loyalty is to America.
The debate also adding fuel to the public feud between the president and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I'm introducing a bill to completely eliminate the H-1B visa program, which has been riddled with fraud and abuse.
Then MTG announcing her resignation from Congress.
Once I left her, she resigned.
The rift coming even as just a few months ago, Trump rolled out a new $100,000 fee for H-1B visa applications. The move set off confusion and chaos in the corporate world before the administration clarified specifics, with plenty of exceptions. Still, some companies reacting by pumping the brakes on H-1B hires altogether. like Walmart, which employs over 2,000 people through the visa. Now the H-1B debate is pitting tech bros against the MAGA regulars.
Immigration was always going to be a flashpoint, especially for the tech right or sort of the big business right versus, the more American worker focused side of the MAGA movement.
Rachel Bovard is the vice president of programs at the Conservative Partnership Institute.
It goes to a lot of the base issues that got Trump elected, right? This idea that mega corporations influenced policy away from the priorities of the American worker. It really goes to this existential question of who's the president fighting for? Who are Republicans fighting for? What does this MAGA coalition mean?
The topic came back into the spotlight after Trump's re-election last year, when Elon Musk defended the visa program on X, adding that he would, quote, go to war on this issue, a war that's unfolding now, leaving the question, which is more America first? Bringing in the best and brightest from around the world, or reserving top jobs for homegrown talent? John Allen, NBC News.
When we come back, the big shakeup in Hollywood, how some big-name stars and AI are changing the commercials you see. Plus, the new warning from police tonight over a now viral social media trend. Be real about one of the great joys of Thanksgiving. It is not just the feast. It is not just the food. It's like just kicking back and watching a lot of TV. Think about it. You probably watch the parade, probably watch some football. You're watching the news right now. And through it all, you've also probably seen your fair share of commercials, too. And while there are plenty of ads to go around, what's interesting, there's fewer and fewer roles for some of these lesser-known actors. A-list celebrities, listen, they're muscling their way into TV ad slots, which is typically reserved for maybe more bread and butter middle-class actors, right, who make a living booking these national commercials. But now with people like Chris Pratt, Amy Poehler, et cetera, in ads, there's others who are like, hey, what's going on here? Where's the piece of the pie that I usually get? Some big companies are also cutting out actors entirely by turning to AI. Look at Google, right? They've dropped their first AI-generated ad right in time for Thanksgiving. Watch.
This is Tom. Work has been weird lately. He's got to fly the coop, and fast. Luckily, AI mode in Google search can help him hatch a plan.
And listen, brands, they are serious about their ads, serious about cashing in, because the ads, especially on a day like today, NFL games, the Thanksgiving Day parade, they bring a ton of eyeballs. Look at just last year, the parade hit an all-time record with something like 31 million viewers across broadcast and digital. I want to bring in Elaine Lowe now, a staff writer at The Ankler, who covers TV in Hollywood. Elaine, we're glad to have you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Let's talk about the TV market and what it says that, what is the impetus here for these A-listers jumping into TV commercials? Is it that they're getting paid well? Is it that these companies really want to grab eyeballs before people click away out of the ads?
Yeah, it's both of those things. And it's also that in the world of streaming, there's really a blurred line between TV and movie stars right now, right? Like there are a ton of movie stars doing TV. There's not the same stigma to it anymore. And in that sense, there's also not the same stigma to doing national commercials. Like in the before times, you would have to go and find like a grainy pirated video of like George Clooney in an Nespresso ad in Japan, when, these huge stars would typically do big ad campaigns in Asia. But now it's so much more common for them to do it here. You look at the ads for that mobile game, Royal Kingdom, and you've got Amy Poehler and Chris Pratt and, Jason Momoa doing a Monopoly Go mobile game ad. So it's so much more commonplace now. And a big part of it is also just the changing advertising environment. People are really looking to get more eyeballs on their screens. And so what happens is the middle gets squeezed. As with so many of these technological and economic advancements, the middle of Hollywood gets squeezed. And so there's just fewer spaces for these workaday actors who used to make a huge living off of national commercials. Because I think what a lot of people don't realize is like, a national commercial will really make you bank. Like a national Target ad or something that runs for 13 weeks, an actor gets paid every single time that airs. So they could make 5-6 figures off of that alone.
Right, exactly. You do 2 of those a year or whatever, and you're feeling like you're in okay shape. What about, I wonder how, Elaine, you see AI when it comes to ads? Because it's one thing for Google, advertising an AI product here to use AI in the ads, but where does that go in the next 6 months, a year and a half? This has been a big issue for Hollywood.
Yeah, so Hollywood's really kind of negotiating with itself in real time its own comfort with AI. There are a lot of people who are jumping in. And of course, we've seen it in the advertising space with Google, with Kalshi, with Coca-Cola. They're creating their own entirely AI-generated ads. And I think that's less of a disruption to the workaday actor right now. It might be more disruptive to a space like in animation or in script coverage, where you're really seeing some of those technological advancements grow, really quickly year over year. I think actually for the average middle class actor, just the changing advertising environment has more of an immediate impact.
How about Thanksgiving Day itself? Because like one of my favorite graphics that we do on the show a lot is like the biggest, most watched days of the year. So much of it is football, but look, the Thanksgiving Day parade is in there, right? It's top 50, which is pretty high when you look at like Super Bowl, championships. This was an election year, by the way, too, so you had all those big election moments as well. It's a big day for eyeballs when people are hanging out, in their living rooms watching TV.
Totally. You've got 3 major NFL games across CBS, Fox, and NBC today. You've got the Macy's parade, which last year clocked a new all-time high. I wonder if it'll clock a new all-time high today. So it's still a really big day for old school 30 or 60-second TV commercials. And so, linear TV still really matters in this environment.
Elaine Lowe, we're glad to have you with us. Thank you for joining us on your Thanksgiving holiday. Appreciate that. Super interesting.
Thanks so much.
Sure. NBC News covers hundreds of other stories every day. And because it can be tough to read or watch or listen to them all, our bureau teams have done it for you. This is what they tell us is going down in their regions in a segment we call The Local. Out of our Western Bureau, a Colorado state senator has died after a car crash overnight near Denver. The state's governor calling Democrat Faith Winter a fierce advocate for state, families, and the environment. 3 other people were hurt in that crash. Police are still looking into the circumstances. Out of our Midwest Bureau, police in Chicago are telling people, don't be doing the door kick challenge. This is something that they say is going viral online to a degree. You can see it here where people kind of like sneak up to a door, kick it, and then run away. Police say it could lead to felony charges or, in their words, tragic consequences. And out of our Northeast Bureau, take a look at this. That assault on your ears is just a little taste of something that New Yorkers get every day. And officials say it's gotten so bad, they are now rolling out a new app to track the noise. It's supposed to help the city figure out when and where it's the worst, it's the loudest. And if I had to give you $10 to guess the loudest spot, I guarantee you'll get it. You know what it is? Of course, it's Times Square. So loud, Times Square. Coming up here on the show, our team's inside look at what's being called the most innovative square mile on the planet. How one couple is trying to bridge the gap between high-tech innovators and the diverse youth community. To the original now with in-depth reporting on a topic we've been watching. And tonight it's an area near Boston being called the most innovative square mile on the planet. But not everyone in that community is benefiting. So now one couple is making it their mission to bridge the gap between the high-tech innovators and the community around them. Yasmin Vasugian has more.
If any place has earned the title epicenter of American innovation, it's Kendall Square in Cambridge, Massachusetts. On the edge of MIT and just blocks from Harvard, this tight cluster of streets packs big tech, biotech, robotics, and bleeding-edge research into a few city blocks.
We're standing here right at the intersection of the most innovative square mile on the planet. On my left and on my right is one of the largest public housing units in the city of Cambridge.
To Michael and Donna Dawson, it's impossible to talk about Kendall Square's opportunities without acknowledging its disparities.
It's almost unlimited resources on one side of the street, limited resources on the others.
He's talking about a neighborhood called The Port, where the benefits of Cambridge's tech boom haven't really landed. The typical family there makes less than half the city's median income. That is one reason former tech exec Michael and former arts educator Donna founded Innovators for Purpose, or IFP, to try and bridge the gap for the next generation.
How do we make things better for them so they can see the possibilities?
We give them the tools, but we also create a platform.
After school 4 times a week at the Cambridge Public Library, IFP gives students from under-recognized neighborhoods in the Boston metro area the chance to work on issues that matter to them. and get mentoring by professionals working in engineering, design, and entrepreneurship. But don't just call it an after-school program.
We don't do school projects. We don't do a project that lasts one semester. At the end, the parents come in, everyone claps. Oh, great, great, great. Our projects are over when they're over, just like in the real world.
IFP was awarded an NBC Universal Local Impact Grant, and its interns are here to leave their mark on the world. Like Looking Glass, a public art installation that's become a local landmark.
It actually allows people to kind of dream about the future, and looking in the other direction, they kind of think about the past.
Our Genius Within, designed by IFP interns to celebrate and highlight innovators that may look a bit more like them.
Once again, when they come to this neck of the woods, they see themselves represented, knowing that they have made contributions to the importance of this area.
IFP's latest initiatives, Transforming AI and Own the Algorithm, aim to tackle the racial, environmental, and economic consequences of AI's rapid growth. Inspiration came from a poem by a Canadian computer scientist calling out racial and gender bias in facial recognition software.
Can machines ever see my queens as I view them?
It's like, wow, there's a problem there. And that's what our students do. We actually work on problems. We try to raise awareness around these problems.
We spoke to one IFP intern who's learning how to develop for AI, but says he's learned so much more.
It's like built a lot of not just like hard skills like computer science, but also soft skills like communication and like public speaking.
Other IFP interns hard at work building a narrative-driven video game set in a futuristic dystopia ruled by AI, with one half of the team devoted to coding the mechanics of the game, and the other half designing the gameplay, art, and story.
I work on making the sorts of backgrounds for all the levels that are included in the game. This one is my most recent one. I'm also really proud of it.
It's really wonderful to watch a shy student step up and talk in front of a crowd. When they build their confidence and they feel like, I can do this and I am this, I'm good enough for this.
IFP alum Maxwell Berger says the program helped open doors he couldn't even imagine.
I didn't really have a plan. It was kind of in the mist. But this one really like, oh, I can do this and that. I can get these opportunities. They'll give you those opportunities as long as you want it for yourself.
It's journeys like Maxwell's that make all the hard work worth it for Michael and Donna.
When you see that young person go from, just walking into that door, and then they start accomplishing some of their dreams, that really makes it worth it, all right?
In the most innovative square mile on the planet, the next generation, making sure the future isn't just built for them, but by them. Yasmin Vasugian, NBC News.
Our thanks to Yas for that. To the major makeover of the White House's East Wing. You've heard about it, of course. This overhaul that President Trump ordered to make space for a $300 million ballroom. A change to the People's House, sparking questions from, well, the people. Our Yamiche Alcindor takes a closer look.
The issue dividing D.C. and the nation.
$300 million is an enormous amount of money.
I think it's a good deal for the taxpayer.
I think it's really disturbing.
For weeks now, President Trump has defended himself from backlash for completely demolishing the East Wing of the White House to make room for a massive ballroom. He says the space is needed to host more people for bigger events.
I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. In order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure.
As the construction continues, the history and significance of the East Wing has taken center stage.
The demolition of the East Wing is kind of just literally taking a wrecking ball to a sacred space in American history. It's part of our collective American memory as the White House, and it is the People's House.
Kate Anderson Brower, a New York Times bestselling author, has written several books about the White House.
In every big state dinner, every major event, Christmas parties, that's all been through the East Wing. It's all organized by the East Wing, both the calligrapher's office, the social secretary, they're all there, and the First Lady and her chief of staff, they're all planning it.
In the past, presidents have done renovations to the building. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt ordered the construction of the East and West Wings. In 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt expanded the East Wing. Then President Harry S. Truman completely gutted the inside of the White House, which was in dire need of repairs. And since January, President Trump has paved over the Rose Garden to build a patio and added a lot of gold to the Oval Office. But his demolition of the East Wing is by far the biggest project in years. How is this different from past renovations of the White House, the demolition of the East Wing?
It's different from past renovations because we've never seen anything like this before. This is clearly about President Trump and his ego, wanting generations to come to see the ballroom, to know who was there.
In 1977, Rosalind Carter became the first First Lady to formally establish her office in the East Wing, with First Ladies using the space ever since.
It was important to her.
Her grandson, Jason Carter, has fond memories of the space.
That's where the bowling alley was. That's where the movie theater was.
But he says it wasn't all fun and games in the East Wing.
She fought for mental health. She, planned a trip to Latin America where she faced down dictators and promoted human rights. It was really symbolic.
What was your reaction when the East Wing was demolished?
It was shocking, I think, to see the wrecking ball taken to the office where, so much great work had been done in order to build a place where they could have parties.
The White House has shared renderings of the ballroom, which officials say will be able to seat about 650 people and will be about 90,000 square feet, bigger than the rest of the entire White House. The president has said private donors, including NBC's parent company, Comcast, as well as several anonymous donors, are paying for the project. In a statement to NBC News, a White House official said in part, President Trump is making the White House beautiful and giving it the glory it deserves at no cost to the taxpayer, something everyone should celebrate. James Rosebush, who worked for both President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan, agrees.
I think it's a good deal for the taxpayer to bring people in who voluntarily are contributing to or helping make this something that's going to be used for generations and generations to come.
What do you make of some who say it could be unethical to have some people who maybe want to influence the president donate to the ballroom?
I think you always have that question, and I think you have to do it as ethically as absolutely possible. So the president wore jeans, so I wore jeans.
Rosebush, who worked in the East Wing for a period, also thinks a bigger space to host people indoors is needed.
If you went back several administrations, they would agree that the space that is allocated in the actual original building is inadequate for hosting a lot of people.
But others, like Anderson Brower and Carter, worry about the financing of the project.
I think it's really disturbing because when you look at the list of donors, you have like defense contractors, big tech companies. What do they know about the building of a ballroom? Why are they interested in it?
$300 million is an enormous amount of money that could be gone to solve an enormous number of problems, and it's being used for this. I think it's weird.
The White House responding to detractors saying the same critics who are alleging fake conflicts of interest would also complain if American taxpayers were footing the bill. The president, long known for his buildings around the world, now making his stamp on the People's House. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News.
Our thanks to Yamiche for that, and a happy start to the holiday season to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for being with us on this holiday. That does it for us for this hour, but there's a lot more ahead on Nightly News tonight, tomorrow morning on Today as well. I'll see you there.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.